give me a counter argument to this video, I'm going to write you a check for 10,000 naira. You will make 10,000 naira if you can give me a counter argument to this video that you then ready to listen to. But you got to listen to it from the very beginning to the end. Otherwise, you're going to miss the premise of the video. To reach that level of abstraction that I've just talked about now, go in and send me a text message to 234, which is Nigerian area code 7033627981. Or go to https://www.azimikoko.com, or send me an email to azimikoko26@gmail.com. So my argument is pretty straightforward, and you will get to find out more about it. And I'm challenging you to help me to put like, dislike, comments, arguments, subscription, sharing, and anything that can make this video a video to where there's going to be an argument factor in it. I'm holding you guys to this. The premise is pretty straightforward. One, my problem dated back to 30 light years back. I'm talking about the Big Bang theory. The theory of everything is external and it's not internal. And by that I mean that the cradle of humanity started from the four wall of the African motherland and the African as a continent. So anything that happened, we went from here and went to go and populate other parts of the world. And the differences between the color of our skin and the color of the skin of those or geographical locations, like if you go to the Oceania, or you go to the India, what you call the subcontinent of India, or you go to the Caucasians from the Caucasus Mountain, or you go to the Hispaniola from the South America, you will find out that all these, the differences between those who were the first, how may I want to put this, the evolution, in terms of what you call the evolution, not theory, or you want to talk about the how ammonia and oxygen form a single cell that became a human being. The point I'm making here is that after all that single geography, there was us going into the other parts of the world to go and populate the world, and there were configurations of humanity in terms of their geography. So you see the color of their skin and all that. But it should have been taken in stride and says that, hey, this is the omnipotent, omnipresence, and omniscienticity or her work, or the alternative to the omnipotent, omnipresent, omniscience, which is the third rail in terms of like Heredia Nokpoho Yeye or the Guadalupe or the Greek God, which are all women. So there was a contrast there between men and a woman. And that contrast is called the duality of life and life itself. It's not going to stop if taken to the context of Nigeria. Let's take it to the context of Nigeria as a country that was thrown together by the by the Europeans. So I finally came to the conclusion because for the past 2 years or a year and a half that I've been back to Nigeria, I've been grappling with this concept of where do I go into this big balls that I'm currently looking at. How do I go in to be able to decipher the that theory, the theory of everything? Then it kept coming up until like recently I did. Obama said one thing during his opening of his library in South Side of Chicago that we are at the cusp of time when humanity has the best EXC, an executable in terms of the software, AI, and yet we are still very, very far apart from each other. So when you listen to that, I personally I was skeptical when AI came into being because I am a technologist who wants to become the godfather of the technology of the Nigerian airspace. So back again to square one, if we have the biggest artificial intelligence in terms of the large language model, and we are still driving ourselves apart instead of bringing us together, then there is no future where anything outside the outside done in can be corrected. If you are not in agreement with what I'm just saying, I owe you 10K. I will write you a check for 10K if you have a different solution to the solution that I'm prescribing, that we need to hold the external people responsible. My point was really driven home by when I listened to a guy called David, David, and the last name is Hundeyin, and he was simulcasting from Kenya, and everything he said I agree with 100%. But when it came to analyzing the whole thing, I find out that our problem is external, and that was what I was able to derive from him. He didn't say that. He kind of just cleaned through the whole thing and did not mention that our problem is. But I am putting my own foot on the ground and saying, if you looked at what Trump is doing, he thinks that American problem is done. It has an external effect. If you look at what Netanyahu is doing, he believes that the problem of his country is an external. If you look at what Putin is doing, you look at it from the angle that he thinks his problem is external. The only people who are not able to see their problem being external, and it will be concentrated in Africa. And Nigeria just happen to be one of them. I don't think I think Obi knows that, and Obi is going to try to do something about that. As a matter of fact, when they did push David Hyundai, I said, if we put a gun on your head and tell you you must vote today, who are you going to vote for? He dodged the bullet by saying he would rather vote for Jonathan. I know the person that was sitting across to him was expecting him to say he would have voted for Obi based on the analysis, but he dodged the bullet. But I am going to taking one more step that Jonathan has done 5 years of his time, and he's very, very subdued. And Asiwaju has done 3 years of his time, and he's very, very subdued. Taking things back to the days of Ogiso, Ogiso did his best, and he's very, very subdued. So if all these people are subdued, it means that we are not taking this issue from the external factor. It's something that I'm going to work on, and I want to quickly wrap things up at 12 minutes of my time, and says that if you send me a text message and say that, tell me how much you disagree with me, then if I agree with you, I have to agree with you to the letter, and I would cut you a check for 10K Nigerian naira. So I owe you money. If there's a way you can say you differ with me, then I will cut you a check. Let me start by saying that it is 234-70-3362-7981 is where you're going to text the message to, or you're going to call me on. I have not given up on my book, Guide to Goddess, which is going to say the same thing too, on the misogynistic part of life in Nigeria. Turning vision into reality is going to tell you that through cooperative is when we can turn Nigeria around. And it will give you the corruption that's going on in Nigeria. Pick it up at Seller. Pick it up at Seller, Selar, and just put in God to Goddess, or turning dreams beyond border, turning vision into reality. It is azimikoko.com. It's my landing page. You'll be able to know about me and my shortcomings and my vulnerability. You'll be able to know where I'm going from here. So let me start by saying this clip I'm going to try to make good on the bigger editing through Copcast or through Cover or through 11 Lab. Thank you. I enjoy having you.